Hey guys, what's up and welcome to today's video. So if you guys have been following me for a while now, you've probably heard me speak about the requirement for us to take ruthless responsibility of self if we want to have long-term success. Now, this is regardless of whether we're talking about health and body or whether we're talking money and business or our love and relationships and so on. If we want long-term success, we have to take ruthless responsibility of self and the fact that ultimately anything that's going right or wrong comes down to us. Now, of course, this isn't an overnight thing for most people. It's like we've lived a particular way that maybe isn't getting us the results that we want for a long period of time. So it's very rare that we can change that overnight and suddenly become this new person who ruthlessly takes responsibility all the time. But what we can do, of course, is build new habits, new behaviors, and so on. And over time, we find that we're moving towards this place that we're trying to get to. Now, along the way, it can be kind of difficult sometimes to kind of identify, well, am I actually taking ruthless responsibility for myself? Am I now fully responsible, showing up and acting like an adult? But there are three key things that we can look out for along the way to make sure that we're moving in the right direction. And the first of those things is not only an acknowledgement, but also an acceptance that there is nobody else to blame but ourselves. So often along the way, even when we're moving towards our goals and we're achieving things and building more and more success, often things can go wrong. And the first thing that we tend to do when we're stuck in the child mind is blame it on somebody or something else outside of ourselves. Now, of course, at times there are things that go on outside of us that are beyond our control. But what we do always have control of course, is how we respond to that thing. Now, most of us are very reactive and something happens and we react instinctively or just react subconsciously. And often that reaction isn't the ideal one that we want, because it then halts our progress, makes us feel like shit, and often doesn't lead us to our goal. So if we can step back and respond and accept, well, the thing may have happened, but it's still my responsibility to ensure that I get the outcome. I now accept that ultimately there is no one or no other thing outside of me that's to blame. Then that way we can always move forward. We can always stay solution-minded and maintain our progress and ultimately achieve the success that we're after. Now, the next thing that we would find is that we are consistently taking action towards the particular outcomes that we want. Now, it's one thing to know that, oh, here's my goal and here are the things that I've got to do. But of course, it's that gap in between where we need to be consistent in our behavior to actually move us towards the goal. So if we are now showing up and taking responsibility and doing the things that we need to do so that we don't have anyone or anything else to blame, we must show up and take action consistently. So once we're doing that, that is another indicator that we are now showing up and being ruthlessly responsible for self. Now, of course, again, that can take a little bit of time to get into the habit of that. Sometimes we start things, get a few days in and then drop off. And then we might try again and get a couple of weeks in and drop off. Then we might try a third time and we get a couple of months in. And each time, hopefully, we're moving deeper and deeper into progress and into habit, so that this can become a consistent behavior that obviously keeps us moving towards our goals. Now, the final thing, and I say final, there are lots of aspects, but the final thing to really look out in these three key components is autonomy. Now, what I mean by that is you can now make decisions without the need or the influence of others. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't necessarily seek guidance or help at times. We're allowed to do that because that's part of taking responsibility, admitting where your shortfalls are or your shortcomings and where you may need help and guidance. But ultimately, the final decision rests with us. So it doesn't matter what this other expert or guru or even friend or family member says. Ultimately, we make the decision. Even if it's the same decision that they perhaps recommended, we accept that actually, well, I've taken this guidance or their support, and now I will apply my own ability to discern what's right from wrong, and I will make a decision for myself. That way, again, we don't have anybody else to blame. We take full responsibility because even though we've used their help and their guidance to make a decision, ultimately we know the decision lies with us. And that way, as I say, we have nobody else to blame. And again, we can keep moving forward. And regardless of whether our outcome is positive or negative, we take responsibility for that. And we have no particular emotional attachment to it. It's often when we overly attach our emotions to a given outcome that we're after, that things go wrong in terms of in our inner self, things go wrong. We feel like shit about ourselves. We devalue ourselves, and it lowers our self-esteem and confidence if we've got too much emotional attachment on the outcome, and then we don't achieve that particular outcome. So those are the three things, guys. If you are taking consistent action ultimately and moving towards your goals and ultimately taking ruthless responsibility, what you should find that is that, one, as I say, you've become autonomous in that you can make your own decisions. Yes, with help and guidance sometimes, but you make the decision. You know it lies with you. You no longer blame anybody else, and you're able to take consistent action without constantly making excuses or giving yourself reasons for why you can't take action on a given day, and therefore delaying your progress and your results. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. As always, if you have any questions or you want me to expand on this further, drop your comments below. And if not, I look forward to seeing you guys in my next video. Take it easy.